not at 100%. So, I'm struggling there. My audio, I do know that I still sound super nasally. So I'm not at 100% yet, but I am getting there. I've been like taking cough drops. Um, Earlier today, Kenneth kind of gave me a tip, which was to like chew on some ginger to kind of help. So yeah. I'm not 100% there, but I've just been very excited. So I was just like, yo, I don't want to skip out on this because, of course, on Thursday, I'm not going to be here. Well, nobody's going to be here because, Thanksgiving is coming up. But, I'm like, all right, that just means one show this week, maybe tomorrow. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, Parvel, I've been sick since Friday. I was out all weekend. It was bad. But I'm feeling better for sure. Not at 100% yet, but I'm feeling a lot better. But I also think it's like, it's just part of the season right now. Everybody is like getting sick right now. It's the season change, and it's not nothing to be worried about. It's just like a normal little flu. You'll notice I sound a bit nasally today. But I have been doing some really fun research, and I was just like, yo, I want to make sure that this happens tonight, especially again, since I'm not going to be on live on Thursday. Before jumping into today's docket, how is everybody feeling on your end? Pam, how are you? Parvel, how are you? AB fam, how are you? Cam, give me the scoop, y'all. How are y'all before I jump into my normal little shebang here? Pam said she is okay. Okay sounds lower than normal for you, Pam. Okay sounds lower than normal. Why only okay? Why only? It is okay. I knew I wasn't tripping. Yeah. Why only okay? If you're, comfortable sharing. Steve Boo said he's feeling better. Cam is also doing better. One Taps said, I love ChatGPT. She's the homie. Yeah, ChatGPT is the homie. But the homie got some competition now. Nope. Got it. I'll check up on you separately then, Pam. AB fam said I am doing well. Cool. Anything exciting? Okay, before jumping into it, one question for anybody here. Anything exciting happened today? Then I'm going to jump straight into the show after that. Anything exciting? Because I could use a little pick me up as well with with me being all super congested. Anything exciting happened today? Someone, anyone? And then I'll jump straight into the docket and take it from there. Y'all got to give me something though. Let's see. And by the way, is the camera acting glitchy today? So far on my end, it does look clear, at least much better than what it was last time. Okay. One Tap Z said he made some money in his brokerage account. So that is a win. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's jump straight into it. Last week, something pretty huge happened. And I guess all of us nerds got really excited about it. Last week, an AI model dropped that has been beating ChatGPT quite literally at everything. Writing, it's better. Coding, it's better. Reasoning, it's better. Even down to this phrase that we throw around a lot, which is called PhD level problem solving. It's better than ChatGPT in all of those areas. It's absolutely crushing it. And here's the wild part. In my opinion, it wasn't made by like some random Chinese startup. We've all heard about the DeepSeek moment from a few years ago or a few months ago. Wow, time really flies when you're in this like news cycle because every day feels like something new is happening. But it wasn't even made by this random, scrappy Chinese company. It wasn't made by Elon Musk either. It was made by a company that I can guarantee every single person here knows of. This is a company that is worth well over $350 billion in annual revenue. It's a company that, one, builds its own AI chips. I think that alone says a lot. This company builds its own AI chips. It's a company that controls everything from hardware to the software on the apps, on the phones that are covering all the apps. This is what I am calling a potential ChatGPT killer. And today we're going to talk exactly about why this is such a huge moment for everyone. I'm super excited about this one. So, of course, what's good, everybody? This is the Benson Report. I'm your host, Phillip Aubrey. And of course, I am also the CEO of Benson AI. For those that are new here, Benson AI is our investing app that essentially uses AI to do all of your investing for you all automatically. And the Benson Report is basically where I come and essentially share news updates around what's happening in the market, and more importantly, how we're profiting off of every single one of these opportunities. And that's why this week we're going to go over this super exciting thing that I call the ChatGPT killer. Now, I want to be very, very clear. This does not mean that ChatGPT is going to disappear tomorrow. What this really means is that we are now having more competition in the room. More competition in the room means that it's cheaper prices for everyone. We get smarter tools, X, Y, and Z. I am happy that ChatGPT finally has some competition that is going to force them to aggressively update. So before I jump into that, I do have one quick announcement that I do want to share. I reached out to a few people in the CEO club, just a few of them. I think it was like a dozen or so people. And I asked them essentially, hey, should we do like a Black Friday sort of deal? I've never done a Black Friday deal. It's something that I only associate with like the big companies of the world. But every single person was just like, yes, you should 100% do a Black Friday deal. So as a result of that, as of today, we released our Black Friday deal. Now, what does that mean for you? This means that anybody who has been sitting on the sidelines, watching these episodes, trying to figure out how should they, get AI to start investing for them, you now have a deal that you could lean on. Benson for this week is going to be 50% off for the first month. Meaning if you have been sitting on the sidelines talking about, oh, I don't really know, I'm trying to figure it out, you now have a chance to get it at 50% off for this week. For your first month. Again, this is just our first time running a Black Friday deal. We wanted to see, hey, would this make it easier for some people on the fence to jump in the door? And I think everyone that I asked this question to said 100%, give it a shot. And let's just see, does it help some people out get started? Because at the end of the day, we are absolutely crushing it in this AI or investing game. And, if you can get just a few more people to realize like just how beast mode it is, why not? So for that reason, if you have been sitting on the sidelines, you now can go straight to the App Store, download Benson AI. You are going to notice that you are going to get a 50% discount off for your first month. This is our first time ever doing it. It will likely be the last time we do this, at least until next year. Because I'm a firm believer that if we are making you money, we should make a little money off of it. So in this case, you are getting a 50% deal or a 50% discount for this week alone. Now, with that said, today's episode is called the ChatGPT Killer. And to get it out there, who are we talking about? We're talking about Google. Again, this is a company that brings in over $350 billion in revenue every single year. And over the next 25, maybe 30, maybe 45 minutes, I'm going to be honest here. We're going to go over three major things. Number one, Google just released an AI model that is essentially obliterating everyone else in the game. Everyone else. And we're going to break down exactly what changed and why this actually matters. Two, the secret weapon that nobody's talking about with Google, aka Google has custom AI chips, again, that nobody really pays attention to. What does this mean for everybody building AI chips like Nvidia, as an example? But two, what does this mean for this whole AI race that we are all, whether or not we like it, are all participating in? And then third, why does Google's full stack advantage make them a worthy competitor to ChatGPT in the long run? Because again, I get access to a lot of data sitting on this side of the table. And while everybody's obsessing over OpenAI / ChatGPT fundraising rounds, that is, Google has quite literally been building something that could dominate AI for the next decade. So the question is not who's winning right now. The question is who's building the infrastructure to win for the next 10, 20 years. And one of those players in this game, and I think there are about 3 or 4, by the way, one of those players happens to be Google. And we're about to jump straight into it. So Google, again, has a $350 billion war chest right now. Just to kind of paint a little picture of what's happened. In the year of 2024, Google brought in roughly $350 billion in revenue. That is essentially a 14% increase year over year. To put that into perspective, because I know these numbers are massive, to put that into perspective, Google makes about $960 million every single day. Again, they make almost $1 billion every single day. And yes, we're all excited about OpenAI / ChatGPT, but ChatGPT over the course of a year, as it stands right now, makes about $20 billion. That's the high end estimate. Over the course of this year, at least, ChatGPT is going to make roughly about $20 billion. What does this actually mean? This means that Google has enough money to blow an experiment for a really long time before ChatGPT has the opportunity to really catch up and dominate. ChatGPT / OpenAI essentially spent roughly $5 billion on research and development in the year of 2024. And right now they are continuing to lose a few $billion every year. Now I want to compare that to Google that posted essentially $100 billion bet or $100 billion in net income. That's pure profit. So while ChatGPT is losing about $5, maybe $10 billion a year, Google, on the other hand, is bringing in $100 billion in net income. That's absolutely insane. And the numbers tell what I believe a very clear story. Google makes roughly 35 times more money than ChatGPT. And on top of that, they're incredibly profitable. This is the equivalent of like comparing, I don't know, a lemonade stand to Coca-Cola. The lemonade stand just does not have the resources to compete with Coca-Cola. And when we talk about what a war chest actually means in this AI race, it is a night and day. It's a night and day experience. Building AI that is actually relevant for a lot of people, that can be used by millions, if not billions of people, means that you need a lot of money, plain and simple. OpenAI, as an example, spent about $6.7 billion on research in just the first 6 months of 2025. That's almost like buying 30,000 Ferraris just to do science experiments. And they need to keep doing that every single year for the foreseeable future until they are able to catch up to Google. Because, like, the biggest competitor, again, for ChatGPT right now is actually Google. And more importantly, to be able to spend that much money, they have to constantly go out, raise more money from investors to continue fueling all of this money that they are going to spend and ultimately lose. And to date, as of right now, they've raised, I don't know, somewhere around 57, almost $60 billion. They've raised money about 11 times. And they have about $30 billion coming in from SoftBank alone. But when you put this all into perspective, they are still a very small startup compared to Google. And there's a fundamental difference in Google and ChatGPT's business models. ChatGPT, by the way, I'm always going to go back and forth between calling ChatGPT just OpenAI / ChatGPT. Is the same thing. It's just easier for us to all understand. ChatGPT is essentially, for lack of better words, a one-trick pony. ChatGPT is the business. If ChatGPT struggles, the entire company struggles. You cannot name another profitable product that OpenAI has. And I say that confidently because, again, the only profitable product they have is, and profitable is a stretch, the only profitable tool that they actually have is ChatGPT. Google, on the other hand, has multiple money machines that all fund this AI development that we are, again, all experiencing. Search ads, aka their ads business, under Google, that brings in about $200 billion annually. You know, every time you go to Google, you see some ad, that business brings in $200 billion annually. YouTube, that business brings in about $36 billion annually. Google Cloud, which is, you know, the hosting infrastructure for some of the internet players here, brings in about $43 billion annually. And then lastly, they also have subscriptions. They also have phones. They have apps, X, Y, and Z, which all bring in about $40 billion annually. All of these different businesses that Google has is able to fuel all of their research, development, and experimentation, all supporting this AI stuff. The way I like to think about this is just that OpenAI is a band that makes money from concert tickets. That's it. Google, on the other hand, is a record label that makes money from concerts, streaming, merchandise, and they happen to own all of the venues. According to Google's February 2025 earnings call, Google is essentially planning to spend $75 billion in building AI infrastructure this year alone. $75 billion this year alone. Now, again, when we start talking about these massive numbers, I know that I struggle with understanding how much $75 billion actually is. So, you know, I like to always go back to, let's put this into perspective. If you had $75 billion right now in your pockets, thank you, S. Lopez. S. Lopez just jumped in and said, Benson AI is awesome and I recommend using it. I really appreciate you saying that. If you had $75 billion with a B right now, you could essentially buy every single NFL, NBA, MLB, and hockey team in America, and you would still have money left over. If you had $75 billion, you can buy every team in the NFL, the NBA, the Major Baseball Leagues, and the National Hockey League. You can buy every single team and still have money left over. That is how much money Google is planning to spend in the year of 2025 alone, just to build infrastructure for AI. That's it. That is an insane amount of money. They're doing that in the year 2025 alone. Meanwhile, OpenAI has essentially raised about $57 billion in total across the entire history of the company. Google is essentially spending more than that every single year to make sure that they have an advantage over ChatGPT and OpenAI. This is what I call a full stack advantage. When your research can be funded by advertising, cloud services, and hardware simultaneously, you have a huge advantage over everyone. You have 4 or 5 businesses that are allowing you to go out, spend more money, experiment faster, and hire the best researchers on earth. Another way to think about this is just that OpenAI is like a restaurant that has to take out loans every single month to just keep the lights on. And Google, on the other hand, is like a massive food conglomerate that owns farms, distribution networks, grocery stores, and on top of that, it also happens to own a restaurant. And if that restaurant loses money for a year, who cares? Because again, this company is bringing in $350 billion every single year. That is a structural advantage that we are talking about right now. So when we talk about the fact that, hey, ChatGPT finally has some competition, their competition has very deep pockets. Their competition can spend $75 billion in a year and not even blink. Well, as long as it's turning up well, as long as that $75 billion is spent well. Now, there's some places where I think things do get interesting. Of course, ChatGPT has the brand recognition. I can guarantee that most people here have used ChatGPT at least once. What I can say on top of that, less than 10 people here have probably ever decided that, oh, wow, I want to go and download Google's Gemini product to test it out. So what that means is just that OpenAI does have a lead in this one area, which is brand recognition. Everybody associates AI with ChatGPT, while completely ignoring or not even knowing the fact that, Google has been in this AI game since they acquired DeepMind back in, I think that was 2015. So Google has been doing this for a while, but OpenAI beat them to the punch. They released their models first, and AI is now associated directly with ChatGPT. They go hand in hand. So there is a price tag that, OpenAI does have an advantage over Google. And that is, again, that their name rings bells. When you say ChatGPT, you know exactly who we're talking about. If I were to say, go and test out the other model called Gemini, you'd look at me like I was crazy. Unless you, of course, happen to be one of the AI nerds that are constantly paying attention to what's happening in this space. But nonetheless, one side of the argument is going to say, hey, well, ChatGPT does have the brand recognition. They are the Nike or the Jordan of the space, and Google is, the New Balance of the space. Even though New Balance is a big deal, it doesn't compare to the brand recognition that Nike and Jordan has. So that's that. Now, on the other hand, the other argument or the other side of the alley is going to say, well, Google has diversification, and that diversification is, actually one of their huge advantages. They have a lot of products that they can sell, and they can get their AI in front of you at a crazy discount. They can get their AI directly in front of you using one of their other products. Most people here have a Gmail account. You're going to start recognizing that your Gmail account is starting to constantly get new AI features. Those AI features, of course, are not coming through ChatGPT. Those AI features are coming directly through Google. So Google has this reach that very few other companies have. And they can put their products in front of people almost instantly. By the way, that is what they did last week when they released this new AI model that, everybody's actually excited about. But when you look at what's actually happening right now, here's what I am personally seeing. On November 18th, Google launched Gemini 3, which was essentially a week ago. It is currently sitting at the top of the LMArena leaderboard. I won't spend too much time on this, but all the nerds, we look at this thing called LMArena. You can think of it as all of these AI models duking it out. Google is sitting at number 1. It is incredibly hard to get to number 1. Google has essentially smashed all of the other competition. They beat ChatGPT in PhD level reasoning. They beat it at the hardest AI benchmark ever created. And then they beat it at math as well. And more importantly, Google stopped trying to play catch up here and essentially said, hey, we got a lot of researchers here. We have a lot of resources here. Why the heck are we not, destroying people every time we release a new model? They basically came out and said, yo, stop playing with these guys. It's time to turn up the heat. And on November 18th, they did that. And on top of that, they deployed it to every single person using their products all at once. They deployed it to roughly 2 billion users like that, aka directly through search. And then on top of that, they released it to another 650 million people instantly when they released their Gemini app, or when they released it through the Gemini app. So within one day, Google was able to release the world's best AI model to roughly 2.6 billion people instantly. So when I say ChatGPT has a potential competitor now, I mean this competitor has deep pockets and they can release their new models to roughly 2.6 billion people at the drop of a dime. And this doesn't even take into consideration the advantage, the financial advantage that Google is starting to be able to translate into product advantage. I think this is where I will say this. I think there's going to be a lot more competition to come. We are only at the start of this. But I think now, and for the next at least, let's say 2 years, execution is going to be the most important thing possible. Google right now, again, just released their AI app, or their new AI, to roughly 2.6 billion people within a matter of 24 hours. They basically said every single person here now has essentially access to the world's best AI models, and you don't have to worry about switching, paying an extra cost, none of that. And OpenAI now has competition, because when OpenAI releases models, they are not able to release it to 2.6 billion people at the drop of a dime. But in addition to that, they don't release it all at once. They phase it out, and only the nerds who care to go into ChatGPT, switch up those different toggles, are the ones who actually get to experience the smarter version of the models. But let's bring this back in, because I can nerd out about this a lot. There are 3 main things that I think is going to be incredibly important for anybody who's an investor. Number 1, big tech AI spending is structural. It is not speculative. So when Google commits to spending $75 billion on CapEx and experiments, that is money that flows. That money has already been committed. That is money that's going directly to data centers and energy infrastructure. This spending will continue regardless of how people feel in the short term. As an investor, what that means is these headlines that you're hearing all on the news right now, oh my God, this AI bubble, all that stuff, ignore it. Google has already said, we're still spending $75 billion. We don't care about what the random people on the TikTok or news is actually saying right now. We're spending $75 billion. 2, the AI play here is still incredibly strong. The picks and shovel play here is still incredibly strong. Companies that are supplying AI infrastructure, the semiconductors, the networking equipment, the power generation, benefits from all AI competitor spending. All of it. Why do I say that? I say that because as an investor, you don't need to pick who's going to be the exact winner. You just need to understand that somebody is going to win. So let me spread out my bets here. And if you're on Benson, you already know that you own multiple ways. You own multiple stocks that give you direct access to this AI stuff that's happening right now. You're going to own some semiconductor companies. You're going to own some of the energy suppliers. You're going to own some of the infrastructure suppliers, X, Y, and Z. You're invested all the way through the AI stack. And of course, you're still being diversified. You still have your ETFs, all of it. But essentially, what we're seeing right now is the thesis around, investing, especially using AI, is still here. But three, if you were putting all of your money and hoping that, Nvidia or one company is going to win, you've lost. You've lost because there's going to be, again, another Google that pops out and says, actually, we have some competition that really threatens the existing infrastructure. But guess what? We've owned Google for the last 2 years. We've owned Nvidia for the last 3 years. So we don't care. I don't care who wins here. No matter what, we're profiting off of this. So this is one of those benefits of being diversified. But if you're trying to say, I'm going to put all my money on Nvidia or all of my money on one company, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because as soon as one of these new technologies come out, you're screwed. And this is, again, why Benson is always constantly reevaluating based on what's happening right now, what are the newest reports, what financials have just come out, X, Y, and Z, and then making investments for you on a weekly basis. I did just see a question pop up in the chat, and somebody asked, what is Benson? Thank you for asking that question. Thank you for answering it as well, Pam. Benson is quite literally, actually,
Benson is your AI investing app that does all of your investing for you automatically. We research thousands of stocks each month and show you our best 10. Once you approve the ones you like, we take care of the rest, buying and selling all automatically.
So I hope that answers your question. What is Benson? It's our AI investing app that does all of your investing for you. Plain and simple, all the research, the buying, the selling, the monitoring, the reinvesting, all of it. It just does it all for you. While you sit back and get the updates, it does the work. Devil Dogs, good to see you as well, my guy. Now, bringing me over to point number 2. Google also just dropped something that I think is arguably one of their biggest secret weapons. This secret weapon is called the TPU. And before even jumping into the TPU, I want to throw it out there that Meta, aka the owner of Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, Meta, just came out and said, hey, Google, we want to spend a few $1 billion on your TPUs. Google essentially, for the last few months at least, has been pitching their TPUs as something to add directly into these data centers. And it's been a major strategic shift from keeping them as only the cloud provider to now saying, oh crap, they are now providing hardware directly into these data centers. Google essentially came out and said, hey, I know y'all love those Nvidia chips, but we got some chips that we think would be very, very helpful for you. And they gave a lot of reasons for why you'd want these chips directly in your own data centers. And on top of that, now, as of, this week, at least, they seem to be in conversations with a really big buyer, aka Meta. And I think the stakes are absolutely massive. If Google is able to pull this off, they would probably be able to capture roughly 10% of Nvidia's revenue on an annual basis. I'm sure you already know the numbers here, but Nvidia is bringing in about $200 billion every year. If Google is able to pull this off, they could be bringing in another $20 billion directly off of Nvidia's plate, because they now have some chips that, of course, other people actually think are valuable. I'm a little sick, y'all, so appreciate y'all bearing with me. But yeah, they now have some chips that they could bring in about $20 billion off of. And that's super exciting for Google because, again, they are already bringing in about $350 billion annually. $40 billion here, $20 billion there, another $60 billion there. Now they're saying, hey, we got another business that we think could be bringing in roughly $20 billion every year. And that $20 billion is about 10% of Nvidia's revenue. So again, when we talk about diversification, if Nvidia loses that 10%, Google gains that 10%, we still win because we own both Google and Nvidia, plus all the other players that feed into both of these massive systems. But I do want to talk about these TPUs a little bit because I know I'm throwing these terms around and people are just like, what the heck is a TPU? Let's start with actually a GPU because that's what Nvidia sells. GPU stands for Graphics Processing Unit. And Nvidia's chips were originally, fun fact, I don't know if you knew this, they were originally designed for video games. So you can think about it as like rendering graphics for like Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, X, Y, and Z. And then later, all of these engineers realized like, oh crap, these same graphics cards do really well for AI because both of these tasks require a massive amount of parallel calculations. Nerdy stuff, but basically you got to be able to do math very quickly, and you got to be able to do math very quickly at the same time in two different locations. That's essentially what makes a GPU a GPU. It does math very quickly at two separate locations or 1,000 separate locations all at once. These TPUs happen to be slightly different. TPUs stand for Tensor Processing Unit. And Google designed these chips back in 2015, but these were not made for video games. These chips were made specifically for AI. They were not adapted for gaming, but they were purpose-built specifically to do AI stuff. And they started this back in 2015. The way I like to think about a GPU versus a CPU or a TPU. A GPU, again, NVIDIA's chips, are essentially like a Swiss Army knife. It can do many things reasonably well. It has hardware for video games. It has hardware for, scientific simulations, graphics rendering, and AI calculations. Google, on the other hand, these TPUs are like a surgical scalpel. It does one thing exceptionally well. Google stripped out all of that other stuff that was needed for AI and optimized it purely for tensor operations, which are the equivalent of it's the equivalent of neural networks. Really nerdy stuff here, I get it. But if your goal is to understand and make money off of this AI stuff, you want to be able to speak high level about what the heck is happening. And these TPUs are a big deal because these TPUs, not only are they specifically built for AI, but on top of that, they use 2 to 3 times less electricity than NVIDIA's chips. And this version 6 that Google just launched, or that they're planning to launch very soon, uses 60% less power to do the exact same calculations. Now, of course, this matters because everybody right now is really terrified about AI sucking up all the electricity. Like all the people who just believe that AI is going to pop and disappear, the only argument that they really have is that, oh yeah, we can't keep doing this because of electricity. Well, you're really wrong there because a lot of these chips that are coming out now are all using drastically less electricity. These TPUs happen to be the perfect example. These TPUs, again, use 60% less energy to do the exact same thing. So as people are building these massive AI data centers that need as much power as a small city, by the way, if you can do the same work with half of the electricity, you're saving millions of dollars each month. And that money goes, by the way, straight to the bottom line. Another way that I like to think about explaining a GPU versus a TPU A GPU is like hiring a talented contractor who can do plumbing, electrical, carpentry, painting, a jack of all trades essentially. A TPU is essentially like hiring a specialist electrician who can only do electrical work, but they are drastically faster, more efficient, and they cost less. So if you need to do, occasional electrical work, hire the contractor. But if you're wiring up, $1 million home, you want to hire a specialist. Google happens to be that specialist here. Now, some people are going to argue. Some people are going to argue that NVIDIA's system is unbeatable. The CUDA network, which is their software play there, it has been the industry standard for, I don't know, at least a decade now. Every AI researcher on earth learns CUDA. Every framework supports it. Switching is going to be astronomically expensive. And then on the other hand, TPUs are only useful inside of Google's garden. They only work with a certain framework, which is only available on Google Cloud. So it's very restrictive. I do understand that. But when Meta, which is one of NVIDIA's largest customers, start exploring how to buy billions of dollars of TPUs from Google, it's time to start paying attention. If Meta, who has, spent billions of dollars on NVIDIA's chip says, hey, y'all got something nice over there. I need to test it out. Let me go and spend a few $1 billion to test it out. Meta's going to create the framework that everybody else gets to follow. And by the way, we're already seeing people do this. We're already seeing people step away from NVIDIA's GPUs over to Google's TPUs. I'll say that again because I do know that, everybody loves NVIDIA right now. NVIDIA is a great company, but there are already people who are switching from NVIDIA over to Google. Perfect example, there's this company called Midjourney. Midjourney essentially creates a product where you can create images using AI. They switched from NVIDIA's GPUs over to Google's TPUs, and they reduced their monthly cost by roughly $2 million, from $2 million all the way down to $700,000, aka a 65% reduction in cost. Snapchat, y'all know the little app that all the kids be loving these days? Snapchat did the exact same thing, and they were able to cut their cost by 55%. Anthropic, Salesforce, Cohere, those companies are also all doing the exact same thing. They're saying, it's very expensive to continue using NVIDIA's chips. So we need to, experiment with these cheaper, more efficient, hyper-specialized AI chips. And to be fair, it's exciting. Google's latest TPU chip, which they're calling Ironwood, by the way, when you combine 9,000 of these chips into what, Google calls a super pod, the computing power, fun fact, is 4 times more powerful than NVIDIA's best setup. Basically, you can create a supercomputer that is cheaper, faster, more efficient, and 4 times more powerful than NVIDIA just by using these Google TPUs. Think of it like this. NVIDIA is basically built, this is how I'd like to think about it. NVIDIA built a really fast sports car. And then Google built a bullet train. Different approaches, but Google is specifically designed to move AI calculations a lot more efficiently than NVIDIA. And it's to a point where the CEO of NVIDIA even came out and congratulated Google on, just how big of a deal this was. And when your competitors are saying great job, something's up. And of course, I still love Nvidia. I still think Nvidia is going to be a great company. But we have to be honest here that Nvidia, ChatGPT, all of these players now have some competition, and that competition is absolutely Google. Google is able to attack from multiple different areas. They're able to do things at half the cost, apparently half the cost, and then go a lot faster and a lot further. And on top of that, they have some very deep pockets. I think TPUs are going to transition also from Google's little secret to a legitimate alternative for the Nvidia chips that everybody's addicted to right now. But of course, that does not mean Nvidia is going to disappear overnight. That does not mean that Nvidia, is all nervous about this. It just means that there's more competition out there. And as an investor, you want to understand where that competition is so you can hedge your bets. So, fun fact, I own both Google and Nvidia. And I've held them both for at least 5 years personally, at least 5 years. And as an investor, again, you want to understand these sorts of things because it allows you to maneuver and make smarter moves. Because trust and believe, everyone else who's not following up on the news that's like, shaking here, all they're going to hear is the headlines. They aren't going to understand the whys behind it. They're not going to understand just how big of a deal this actually is. And if we're talking about investing for, the next 5-10 years, these sort of moves plant the seeds for the next few decades. And I do want to make it very clear, in addition to that, the AI chip market is large enough for multiple people to win. And I do think that multiple people will win here. I do think that, Nvidia is going to win in this long-term game. But who's going to be player number 2? Who's going to be player number 3? I want to own all of them, at least the top 2 or 3. I don't want to own player number 5. I don't care about player number 5. But player, 1, 2, maybe 3, I absolutely want to own those. And according to industry projections right now, the AI chip market is expected to grow from 73 billion in 2024 all the way up to $928 billion by 2034. That's not doubling. That's not even tripling. That is essentially like a 12x. That's a 12x increase by the time 2034 gets around. As an investor, this should be clicking for you right now. We are buying up companies that are owning majority of the AI space. And then on top of that, as it stands right now, they are poised to grow 12x from here on out. Said otherwise, up until 2034, we're about to see explosive growth. Your goal should be to own the top 3 players in the space. As an investor, your goal should be to own the top 3. I don't want you to try to say, hey, I absolutely believe Nvidia or Google or whatever, is going to be the winner here. Your goal should be to own the top 2 or 3 players in every space. We are in the early innings. There's a lot more room for growth here. And apparently that growth is about 12x from where it's at now. And the part that I don't think that anybody's really connecting about this whole TPU Google thing is that these conversations are also not just about the chips. It's about a strategic dependency. Right now, virtually every AI company relies on Nvidia. Every AI company relies on Nvidia. If Google, however, comes in and says, hey, by the way, put these chips inside of your data centers, it breaks that dependency on Nvidia. Every hyperscaler is going to notice as well. And when everyone else starts to notice this, they are also going to start buying up those chips as well. Google isn't just selling chips, they are essentially creating optionality for an entire industry that only has one person that they can go to and buy from. That's Nvidia. Google is saying, like, hey, we're here. We got some chips that work, that are smarter, faster, more efficient. And when you combine them up, it is going to be 4 times better than those Nvidia chips. It's about to be a fun little ride, especially if you're paying attention to know what's happening in the space. And last thing I'll say on this, because we're already pretty much at an hour, the last thing I'll say on this, point number 3, is that Google also had, oh, my hand is got a little splinter. That actually hurt. Last thing I'll say on this. Google has this full stack dominance right now that I don't think anybody's really, talking about. Again, on November 18th, Google released Gemini 3, which is their most powerful AI model yet. And at the same time, they released it across Search, Gemini, Google Cloud, and their new, IDE called Anti-Gravity. Again, they released this to 2.6 billion people at the drop of a dime. According to Business Insider analysis, this is the first time an AI company has ever launched a frontier model across the entire product stack in one single day. And more importantly, according to Google, Gemini 3 is now ranked number 1 on the main leaderboards where all AI models compete head to head. It's like the Billboard charts essentially for AI. And on top of that, it has PhD level reasoning. It scored over 90% there. All that to say, when we talk about full stack, that actually means that Google can do all 4 of these things incredibly well. Number 1, research. In order to, deploy a AI model, you need research capabilities. Google can do that incredibly well. You need compute, which is the hardware that actually trains those AI models. Google, of course, with these TPUs can do that incredibly well. You need cloud hosting. Of course, Google already does that. That's one of their businesses that brings in $30 billion annually. And then lastly, you need applications. You need a way to reach your end customer. Again, Google does all 4 of these things. They are one of the few people that does all 4. Now you put that into perspective. Let's compare that to ChatGPT / OpenAI. OpenAI only has research. They rent compute from Microsoft. They don't control their own cloud, and their only application is ChatGPT. If you're not using ChatGPT, you don't have access to pretty much OpenAI anything. Anthropic, another player in this space, only has research really. They rent their compute from Amazon and Google. They don't control cloud or applications. Google has DeepMind, their TPUs, Google Cloud, and all of their applications, which, by the way, are Google Search, YouTube, Gmail, Android, Workspace. All of those tools are all owned by Google, and at the drop of a dime, they can release these AI models to roughly 2.6 billion people at the drop of a dime. It's absolutely insane. So Google has been building up this advantage that I don't think people give them enough credit for. And it wasn't until last week where people finally start putting a little respect on Google's name. So, what does this mean for you? Yes, I do love Nvidia. Yes, I do love ChatGPT. But what this means for you is that there is more competition in the space. More competition means more opportunities for you to profit. I cannot say that any simpler. More competition means more opportunities for you as an investor to profit. Now, of course, if you're on Benson already, we've already been doing this. You've seen Google and all of the companies that support Google and all the companies that support ChatGPT and all the companies that support Nvidia. You've seen these on our top 10 list for the last, I don't know how many months at this point. So if you're on Benson, we got this covered for you already. You don't really have to think about this. You're already getting the top 10 stocks every month that will, speak to all of this research here. But if you're trying to do this on your own, this is where I say the research really starts to show. The research is going to put you ahead of all the little, how do I say that nicely? I'm trying to be nicer, y'all. The research will put you ahead of all of the little people who say we are in an AI bubble without, ever doing an ounce of Googling anything. When you start to, again, look at the numbers below, what's happening underneath the headlines, this all becomes incredibly clear. Again, Google is spending $75 billion every single year on AI research or AI infrastructure. They're releasing their products to 2.6 billion people in a matter of a few minutes. They have the cloud compute that they don't really have to worry. They have the hardware that allows them to integrate into any data center. ChatGPT, Nvidia, all have some competition to worry about now. And I think smart investors right now are getting incredibly happy because it's boring when, everybody's looking at Nvidia. Nvidia is only up like 30% for the year. The investors that are doing well have bought up some of those companies that supply Nvidia that happen to be up to 300% this year. And now we got another company, aka Google, that's coming into the picture and saying, yo, we got another set of opportunities of companies that will fund or fuel us in our growth. And now we get to peek up under Google's hood and say, cool, who are the companies that are supplying and working with Google? So now we have the opportunity to find another 5 or 10 companies that are going to, jump up 300%. This is where stuff gets really fun. I think anybody who is, trying to do this on your own, you're looking at this and you are going to hear, oh, does that mean I need to go and buy Google? Not necessarily. Google's going to be a fine company. Google, may do 30%. We're focused on finding companies that are trying to do 300%. 30% is nice, but you probably already own that directly through the ETF if you own VU. We're focused on saying, cool, when Nvidia jumped up 30%, our companies jumped up to 300%. That's what we care about. I've been on for an hour to the T. I am done. I will open the floor for any questions because I know I just blabbered on for quite some time. I also sound very nasally. Any questions before we cut this off? This is probably going to be the best timing I've been able to do so far. Any questions before we break, y'all? Oh, Miss Yvonne said, yeah, Nvidia stock dropped. Well, the stock, they go up and down. You don't really worry about that. You care about, has something fundamentally changed in the company. And so far, nothing has really changed. It's just, sentiment. Jesse said, thanks for the information. You are very welcome. If you're doing this investing on your own, I hope that, of course, you take the information and run with it. But I think for us investors, this is a fun little time to be an investor. I think most people, again, are only really focusing on like, oh, just own Nvidia, just own Google. I'm like, no. Look under the hood. Look under the hood. You'll start to really see who's really making money. Somebody said, what about Tesla developing his own chips? We did an episode on that a few weeks ago. Tesla's chips are going to be hyper-focused on robots. These chips will sit inside of, their Tesla vehicles and inside of this Optimus robot. And these chips are really good. Very different from like a general GPU or TSU though, because these chips that Tesla is running needs to operate also with vision. Vision is a very important modal for those Tesla chips. So very different ballparks, very different use cases, but still phenomenal chips. Um, and they're also building it in house as well, meaning they also do not have to go to Nvidia. Kasar said good stuff. Jazzy, thank you for the compliment earlier. I didn't want to lose track, but Jazzy says she likes my ring. So thank you there, Jazzy. Somebody said, what stocks should we invest in? Come on now, that would be too easy. That would be too easy. If you want to know what stocks we are super excited about, you can go ahead and download Benson AI. Go straight to your iPhone app store, download Benson AI, and you are going to see our top 10 stocks every single month on time, well before I ever share it here on TikTok. So if you want to know what our top 10 stocks are, and by the way, it's not just telling you what they are, it's going to have the AI that is going to automatically go out and buy the ones you like, at least go out and buy them for you all automatically and continue putting money behind your best ones. So it's one thing I can, tell you a name of a company, but I can guarantee you are not going to be able to maximize it the way that we can. So if you really want to get the most out of it, you should absolutely let Benson do your investing for you. Go straight to your app store, download Benson AI. And by the way, y'all, again, we have a Black Friday deal happening right now. Some people sit on the sidelines for months before they go and actually take action. Right now, we have a Black Friday deal happening, meaning you can get Benson 50% off for your first month. It's an easy way to get your foot in the door so that you can really see just how ahead of the curve we are with this investing game. And then after you see it, you're just like, oh yeah, I should have started this a year ago. But again, there is a Black Friday deal happening right now. You can go straight to your app store, download Benson AI. You'll be able to get access to it 50% off. And then on top of it, also, I am going to shoot you a text. I'm going to check in to see like, yo, how's it going? Do you need help getting set up? I'm also going to let you know like, hey, here's a few tips to really help you make sure that you are crushing it in this game. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. What other questions come to mind right now? ATN said, I waited too long to get an iPad. The good thing is just that you finally did it. There are some people who have waited 40 years before they started investing. You 18, you got your iPad, you got it going. Be proud of yourself there. We are not on the Play Store. If you are on an Android, we don't have an app for you. But we do have a newsletter for you. If you go to meetbenson.com, you will be able to get our top 10 stocks, and we'll send those to you every month on time. So go to meetbenson.com. Right at the top, you'll see a pink banner. On that pink banner, you'll see the newsletter. Click there. You can subscribe to the newsletter. So if you're on an Android, that is what you should do. Shirley said that would be me. Shirley, what would be you? I missed that. Let me know what I missed right there. I'm so sorry I sound so nasally, y'all. But yeah. What other questions come to mind, y'all? Shirley said that would be me. What were you referring to, Shirley? And also, what happened in the market today? Let me actually go and double check how things went. Market ended. Oh, Shirley says she waited 40 years to start. But if you start it, you are ahead of the curve. The average American, fun fact, has less than $500 to their name in the case of an emergency. If you are on Benson, you likely have $100 or a few $100s already. So you're doing better than most Americans simply by actually getting started. The best time to actually start investing was yesterday. The next best time is today. So don't feel too bad there, Shirley. We also got to keep in mind that, this investing game is just not taught to us, people that look like us at least. So it is what it is. You're here now, and that's what actually matters. I need to go drink some tea. I'm going to wrap it up. So to end this off, I like to do my normal thing, and I'm actually going to make it happen tonight, which is I'm going to say good night to every single person here in the chat, and then I'm going to end the live. For those that are new here, you don't know what Benson is, let me get this to you.
Benson is your AI investing app that does all of your investing for you automatically. We research thousands of stocks each month and show you our best 10. Once you approve the ones you like, we take care of the rest, buying and selling all automatically.
So, again, if you have been sitting on the sidelines, you have an easy in now. You can quite literally have the AI start investing for you. And on top of that, you get access to our Black Friday deal that is happening right now. That's it. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. So I can say the easiest thing that you can do for yourself right now, if you're trying to get ahead of the curve, is simply go to the App Store and go directly and search for Benson AI. In that search process, you're going to see a little bow tie. Go ahead and click on that bow tie. Get started. You get the Black Friday deal. I think I caught up with every comment here except this goofy guy Into Mischief here. Into Mischief came in and said, RG, this crappy stock that he's been trying to get everybody to buy, by the way. This really crappy stock that he's been trying to get everybody to buy. If this guy DMs you, make sure you don't respond to him. But nonetheless, he said, this stock went up 20% since you knocked it. I just pulled this stock up, my guy. This stock is up in the last week, 1.26%. What are you talking about? You mean it went up 20 cents since I last spoke about it? What are you talking about? He has really been trying to get me specifically and everyone else to buy this really crappy gold stock. And gold has been doing well. I do own 2 or so different gold stocks, which really crap on this Royal Gold company that, he clearly has put in a lot of money. And it has been absolutely terrible. And now he's like, oh, it was at 169. It went to 193. No. Let's be clear here, Into Mischief. It was at 191 on November 20th. And then it dropped to 182. And now it has returned to 192. That difference right there is 1.26%. Not only are you bad at research, you're also bad at math. You can't come in here, telling everybody to go and buy this stock when you don't do your research on the stock and you're really bad at math. That's a 1.26% difference. But hey, if you put a lot of money into it, go ahead, do your thing. I'm moving on Into Mischief. I appreciate the entertainment though. With that said, y'all, I want to say good night to every single person here. Parvel, Good night. Pam, good night. Shirley, good night. I'm proud of you for actually getting started as well. I know you've been on Benson for a minute, so nothing new there, but good job for actually getting started. Again, people don't learn investing ever. It's not something that we are also taught. So, Shirley, be proud of yourself and the progress. Jacqueline, good night. Miss Yvonne, good night. Kassar, good night. Jazzy, good night. Broad, good night. I love Lee 1, good night. Mark Okoji, good night. Amazing Proc, PROC. I wonder what does PROC stand for. Good night. Into Mischief, good night. You got to do your math better than that, though, my guy. It has not jumped up 20%. Naomi, good night. Timothy, good night. Brenda, good night. Abdul, good night. Don Godfrey, that is a smooth name. Don Godfrey, good night. Glenda Williams, good night. The Zen Life, good night. Melbourne, 100%, good night. Skydiving Upward, good night. Eric, good night. New West Coast, good night. Carl Williams, good night. G Belly, good night. Troy, good night. Roxanne, good night. Did you get set up, Roxanne? I do need some honey. I'm definitely about to keep going with my Ricola. But yeah, that's what I'm getting off. Had to keep it quick tonight. Roxy, did you get set up? Do you need help? I am here for you. Cool Keith, good night. Denise Schofield, good night. Terrence, good night. Dog Paul, good night. Kania, good night. Wayne, good night. Heroless, good night. LM Hawk, good night. Wilbert, good night. Lionel, good night. Dana Pace, good night. Jeremiah, good night. Scorpio, good night. Mustafa, good night. User 812, good night. If you missed this live, go straight to YouTube. Type in Benson Report. This is episode 12. All of this is recorded. Lots of information was shared here. So yes, Joey Crypto, good night. Rameshaw, good night. Joseph, good night. Todd Payton, good night. Mac G, good night. BK, good night. Felix, good night. Lucky 13, good night. Jesse just asked me a good question. I think I should have made that more clear, Jesse. So thanks for asking it. The name of the app is called Benson AI. Go straight to the App Store, type in Benson AI. You will see a bow tie. That is the app. You have to be on an iPhone. You have to be in the United States. But if you meet those two criteria, you are good. So the name of the app is called Benson AI. Again, it will do all of the research for you, all of the buying, selling, the whole nine. All you do is, download the app and get it set up. And if you're not on an iPhone, you can still get our top 10 stocks every single month. The way that you do that is go to meetbenson.com. And from there, you are going to see a pink banner at the top. It'll be our newsletter. You can subscribe to the newsletter and get our top 10 stocks every single month. Leah, good night. Maverick, good night. VFX, good night. Life is good, good night. Asapong, good night. Mary Cook, good night. Helen Smith, good night. Jim, good night. OG, good night. Troy Horton, good night. Candy, good night. Uncle Lily, good night. Diamond Don, good night. Hindu 1, good night. Southern Man, good night. Kimberly the Artist, good night. Mac, good night. Georgia, good night. SK, good night. PZE, good night. Eddie, good night. Richard, good night. James, good night. Lone State Tiger, good night. I think that covers everyone. Investors, this is a good time to be investing. If you're doing this on your own, make sure that you are doing your research, keeping up to speed with what's happening. If you're on Benson, you're pretty much covered. The AI is doing all their work and research for you, and you just get updates along the way. That is all that I have for tonight, y'all. I'm out of here. I'm about to go eat some more Ricolas so that I can clear this sore throat up. But thanks for jumping on. I will not be here on Thursday. Of course, it's Thanksgiving. But that's all I have, y'all. Good night. Be easy, get some rest, and enjoy Thanksgiving.